What's up guys, it's all Anthony and welcome back to the Civic vlog that you hopefully know and hopefully love. And in today's video, I'm gonna learn how to sew. Alright, so at this point you're either thinking I've lost my mind or I'm about to make some magic happen. Now I'm personally leaning towards losing my mind, but hey, we're just gonna roll with it. So these right here are my new to me but very used Honda Del Sol seats. Now I've been looking for these for a very long time, close to 2 years to be exact, and I've gone through countless junkyards and countless classifieds to find a pair in okay condition. Now the hardest part about finding Del Sol seats is finding a driver's side that doesn't have rips or tears in it. And really, this one is no exception. This one is in pretty rough shape, but we're gonna get to that here in a little bit. Now you're probably wondering, why did I decide to go with Honda Del Sol seats? Well guys, there's a couple reasons. First off, I'm waiting for that seat sponsorship to kick in, which is still non-existent, and I'm still focusing on this being a budget build, and these Del Sol seats align with everything that build is over there. So these Del Sol seats right here, I picked up for $30. $30 for the set, and that is a pretty dang good deal. I stumbled across them on Facebook Marketplace and picked them up right when I saw them. Now, I knew I was going to be getting into a little bit of work on these, but for the most part, these are a direct plug-and-play swap into that Civic over there. All I have to do is take off the brackets off the OEM seats, swap them to these, and these fit right inside the car. Now, the cool part about Del Sol seats is not only are they lower when you sit in the car, lowering your center of gravity, but they also got some better bolstering, and I've heard that they are infinitely more comfortable than the OEM seats, hence why I picked these things up. Now, right off the bat, you can tell that these things are absolutely filthy. I'm pretty sure these things sat outside for a very long period of time. There's everything from cobwebs to literally spider eggs underneath these seats, which is pretty freaking disgusting. We have some stains there, and of course the red stripe down the middle is extremely faded. Now here's the plan. I am not planning on keeping this exact same color scheme and putting that into the car. I want to do something about this, and I have a couple different options that I'll go over here in a little bit, but ultimately I need to clean these seats and attempt to fix this hole right here. This hole is pretty gaping, if I can use that word here, but you can see the foam has begun to deteriorate here, and I do need to patch that up and then attempt to sew this together. I've never sewn anything other than my steering wheel, so this will be a learning experience for me, and then I also need to sew and patch this little area right here. So other than that though, that's the driver's seat. Nothing really major or crazy. One cigarette hole burn right here, and this is kind of separating right there that I'll have to kind of sew together as well. But all these stains, I have good faith that I'll be able to get those out today. Now, the passenger side, in good shape. It looks actually really, really good. There's not really a whole lot I'll have to do to that, but I want to point out though that the backs of these seats are flawless. These things look great from the back here, meaning that, well, Del Sol not having a back seat, that's probably the reason why. So here is the game plan for today's video. So first thing I need to do is clean these things. I need to blow them out with the air compressor, vacuum up, and get all of the crap off the seats initially. From there, I need to attempt to patch this hole. I have some foam, I have a needle, and I have some thread. I'm going to attempt to sew that and that back together. Once that's done, that's when I can go for the deeper clean and begin scrubbing with chemicals, using a steamer and all that goodness to get these things hopefully looking better than what they look like now. Now, here's my plan for the future. Since I'm not planning on keeping this color scheme, even though the red does match the Civic over there, what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is actually get some Iggy leather covers that are like a glove fit over this entire seat and look absolutely OEM. I've heard really good things about them, and I think that's the route I wanna go, mainly for the fact that I made some calls for reupholstering these seats, and it's not going to be cheap. They wanted several $100s just to fix those holes, and then to do the whole seats, I'd be looking a little under $1,000. And for that price, I can just go get a new, cooler pair of seats. So with that being the game plan, we need to go ahead, grab the stuff, and get started on this. So I'm gonna grab my air compressor, pull these out there so none of those spider eggs or webs or anything like that get inside my garage here, blow those out, vacuum them up, and then I am going to learn how to sew. All right, guys, so we just finished up with the vacuuming, and they're looking a little cleaner, but still not great. So I'm going to attempt to patch this hole now, and I want to start by saying that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to act like I know what I'm doing. I'm just bringing you guys along for the process and learning experience. So we're just going to see how this goes. So I picked up some foam earlier from a craft store. It's okay, it's a little squishy. I was gonna cut out some foam from like the back of the seat, but I thought that would be kind of ghetto, so I just grabbed this foam here and I grabbed some glue here. I am going to attempt to spray some glue down into here. So as you can see this metal bracket right here. That's actually where the structure of the seat. I'm gonna try to fold that foam over into that like that, glue that back together, and then simply take some of this excess foam here and then shove that down. It's not that that foam is all missing, it's just that it's separated in a weird place. So I feel like if I can glue that together, spray some more glue, shove this down in there, and then sew over the top of that and kind of fold in those edges and bring that in, it's not going to look pretty, right? It's not gonna look great. Hopefully tuck it in to where there's not any excess. And then from there, that at least it'll be structurally sound and it won't have this metal bar right here digging into my side. That'll at least be cushioned, so that'll be nice. And then in terms of up here, the game plan is that the foam is mostly there. There's no metal or no bracket or anything crazy. So I am just going to kind of tuck that in, fold over an edge, and then try to sew that back up together like that. I don't know how it's gonna look. I don't know how it's gonna work out. All I know is that at least it won't have a hole in it here and a hole in it here. And then once we do decide to go with the cover over the top of this, you won't see any of that. That cover is so thick that you won't even know it's there. This is just more a precautionary thing. And then I'm also gonna have to attempt to sew down here. Now, I'm not gonna vlog this entire part. I'm gonna show you kind of clips here and there because I think this will be kind of boring. But I'm just gonna chime in with you from time to time to show you the progress I'm making and how good or how bad it's going. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so that must have either been beginner's luck or I'm actually weirdly good at this or something. I'm not sure. But anyways, so I got the foam inside there. Now, I didn't cut anything to really measure it. I just kind of formed like a, I don't know, like an oval, like a roundish oval, shoved it in because I saw a recess in there that kind of had a similar shape, shoved it in there after gluing it, shoved more down into the bottom here to kind of fill this out over here. But this right here, guys, that's money. It's nice and squishy, nice and fluffy. I'm not feeling a metal bracket or anything like that. So I think I actually did that, and I somehow kept the formation of it to where it's still in pretty good shape and doesn't look super odd. So from here, we're just gonna go ahead and sew it. So I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes to dry, tuck that in just a little bit more, and then I'm going to attempt to start to sew this back together. But yeah, guys, not bad, right? Not bad. All right, guys, so it's been drying for just a few minutes now, so I should be good to go to start sewing. So I have my little hooked sewing needle, and I have my somewhat color matched threading that I think will be okay. Now, again, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going to maybe double the length of what that should be and cut that. I should probably make myself comfortable because I think this is probably gonna take a while. If only I had a spare seat. Oh wait, now then the other thing I'll have to do is tie a knot here at the end of the thread, I think. I have no idea how this is gonna turn out. And then start my thread through there. So I'm gonna come through this side. Quick update, I've made it about an inch so far, and it's not looking great, but it's also not looking horrible. Don't mind this little excess string here, I'm gonna come back for that. But I'm coming back through this way, and then I think after I get finished with all these gaping holes, I think I might go back the other way just to just to do it. I mean, it's going to be covered anyway, so it's not that big of a deal, but it is sealing up pretty easy. This curved needle is a lifesaver. I've never used one of these before, but it's definitely working. So the thread match is pretty close. Now, really the only downfall of all this is having this crease right here because of bringing that hole together and making the most of this fabric. So not a big deal. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna keep going down a little further and I will keep you guys updated. All right, guys, and just like that, we are done. So again, not pretty. Better than a gaping hole though, and so that is feeling money, man. That foam really molded perfect. It wasn't too stiff to where it basically kept the shape of the seat itself. So this little thing's kind of annoying, but once we get that seat cover on, obviously that'll be covered and you won't even feel it or know it's there. But yeah, guys, so not pretty, but it turned out okay. And that stitch is not going anywhere. So you can see pressing on it here, it's gonna be just fine. So next up is gonna be this guy right here. I'm just gonna zip through this as fast as I can on this portion, so I won't film everything. I'm just gonna film, you know, tidbits here and there. Do that, and then just put a couple threads on this guy right here, and then we'll jump into the cleaning. Alright guys, so I just finished up with the sewing and I gotta say, it looks pretty horrible. It looks pretty freaking bad. However, like I said, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, dude. I was just winging it. And this is not how it's gonna look in the car. Remember, we're gonna be covering this up. I can't emphasize that enough. So yes. This is my Frankenstein zigzag thing right here. The cushion worked out great. Putting that foam in there was a good call because it is nice and cushiony. I don't feel that metal bar in there anymore. The one thing that did turn out really good was actually this right here. So if you remember, there's a big old hole right here. That stitch job turned out awesome. I ended up sewing that up and pulling this fabric kind of to where this anchored right here, and then just sewed that in, and that turned out great. You can't even really tell it's there. As far as that cigarette hole, not really much I can do about that, but that looks pretty good. Coming up top here, finished up with this, and also looks pretty horrible. But the thing is they are in there, right? That's not coming out. I went over it twice to make sure that stitch wasn't gonna come undone, and I even burned the tips on there, so basically it's gonna anchor down really nicely here and of course on here. But yeah, it's really not that rough though, to be honest. This little ridge right here is a little rough, but everything else is relatively smooth. It just looks kind of bad because I got a crease in there, but guys, realistically, this fabric is wasted. I mean, there's already miniature holes everywhere, and there's really not much I could do in terms of saving this, hence why we're probably going to end up covering it. But what I want to do is I want to clean them up. I want to see how good they can look, and of course we need to sanitize this because these are pretty gross. I was sitting in the passenger seat for most of this, and I loved it. I thought that passenger seat felt so good, so I can only imagine how good this is gonna feel in the driver's seat once I get this in. That bolstering is 10 times better than what's currently in the Civic right now. Quite literally, night and day difference. So right now we're gonna start with the cleaning process. I'm going to probably warm up the steamer over here, get that ready to go. I'm going to spray this down with an enzyme. An enzyme is going to break down all the proteins, any other stains like that, and also just help with sanitizing it. I'm also going to break out some citrus cleaner and stuff like that, really agitate it, really clean these to the best of my ability, and I'm curious to see what kind of pattern or color could come back in these seats because they're just so freaking dirty. So let's go ahead and warm up the steamer and get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this enzyme spot cleaner. It's called Terminator. It's made by PNS. It's going to help break down a lot of these stains and things like that, so I'm pretty much going to do a pre-soak in this, and I'm going to use it pretty liberally, hence why I have it in this IK multi-sprayer. I'm just going to go ahead and saturate it. I don't really care. I don't know what's in this seat, so I'm just going to go to town. So basically, start from top to bottom. I'm going to start laying it on and just kind of mist it all over the seat, all over the sides. Okay, so while that's soaking, I have my steamer over here ready to go. So I'm gonna grab a brush, a little bit of all-purpose cleaner, and kind of start spot spraying and then begin steaming. I'm gonna grab some towels as well, grab a brush, and then we're gonna start working. All right, so I think one last vacuum and then I'm gonna call it good. I mean, this thing has been hit with citrus all-purpose cleaner, it's been hit with an enzyme, it's been hit with more of an interior cleaner, it's been hit with a fabric cleaner and protectant, it's been hit with quite literally everything I have in my arsenal, and at this point, it's not pulling off any more dirt off the towels, so that's nice. So I'm going to hit it with a vacuum, dry it out as much as I can, take another towel over it, and then we're gonna go ahead and set it out and let it dry, and then come through and basically take a little fabric buzzer and then buzz that little bottom section there and buzz any other type of loose fabric that has been kind of piling or pilling, I should say. So, all right, almost there. Dang, that already looks a ton better. I still need to clean the plastics, clean the rails off and all that, but the fabric itself, the pattern, you can finally see the pattern back. Not really much I can do about that faded red, but yeah, we'll let that air out here. I think it'll actually dry out pretty good. It's a little overly saturated right now, but give it a little bit and I think that'll look pretty money. So I guess it's time to move on to the passenger seat and yeah, I'm tired, guys.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, so both the seats are out here drying. Now what I'm gonna do is just wipe down the plastics here on the side. I was thinking about taking them off, but just whatever. I'm gonna use some McGuire's Interior Quick Detailer, a couple sprays on there, and just clean those up. All right, so last and final step, we are going to give these seats a haircut. No, I'm just kidding, but actually, kind of seriously, we are gonna give these seats a haircut. So this is a little fabric trimmer here. I love this thing. This thing works super, super well. I always use this when I have some pilling on seats or any kind of fabric or anything like that. So you can see how this is all kind of lifted up and looks kind of nasty. So crank that to speed 2, and we're just gonna shave a lot of that down. Blow them off one more time, then we'll bust out the good camera and show you the results. And finally, we are done. The seats look so much better. Seriously, a night and day difference than when I first got them. Really, the biggest thing was that giant gaping hole in the driver's side. And even though I have a Frankenstein stitching job, it's gonna do the job, it's gonna get covered, and it's going to be okay. But really, guys, you can see the zebra print, everything is back, and these things really do look good. Really, the only thing that's killing them is this center stripe down the middle. If I were to have kept these seats, or if this driver's side was in better condition, I probably would have re-dyed those to red, and I think they would have looked pretty dang good. But overall, I am super happy with them. Now, to briefly run through everything that we did, we blew them out with compressed air, we vacuumed them, we hit them with an enzyme cleaner, hit them with an all-purpose cleaner, hit them with steam, agitated them, vacuumed them, hit them with more cleaner, wiped them down with towels, wiped them down with more steam, and then re-vacuumed them, and here is our final result. And yeah guys, it's a huge difference. So for all the products I used, I'm going to try to link everything down in the descriptions if you want to do something like this yourself to a pair of really dirty seats, or something you need to do a Frankenstein sewing job, whatever, have at it. But anyways, I'm pretty happy. They were 30 bucks. I spent about 10 bucks in supplies, and these things look freaking awesome. So to wrap this video up, I have a Corona with my name on it inside, and I think it is well deserved. And I am super anxious to get those covers on the seats and in the car to really experience what these Del Sol seats actually feel like. So if you guys like what you saw, make sure to give me a big thumbs up, subscribe down below for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's all to Anthony. Peace.